This is the Elgato Wave DX. It costs a paltry $99, and it's the second mic I'm testing of the big releases this fall. The first being the Blue Sona. That video's up here. Now, unlike the Blue Sona, this microphone is developed by a computer and peripherals company. That needs to be said. This microphone is aimed at gamers, and well, that's pretty much it. In the box, you get the microphone, and inside the connector for your stand, you'll see a reducer. This is a 5/8 to 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter, though I haven't seen a 1/4 inch mount for a mic in a long time. Still though, cool to see. If you need it, it's there. I also want to point out, bought this microphone with my own pennies, so if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. It helps me buy more microphones like this for review. Now the body on this thing is solid. It's all metal construction with the exception of that little knob here for tightening it. There is absolutely no give on this grill. This thing is built like a brick. The only thing on the body you will notice is the logo here, and it's a bit of a cool trick too. If you want to show off your mic, you can swap sides with the logo and the arm, so no matter what you do, the logo is always facing the camera, which I do kind of find funny that no one's screaming about that. Remember when everyone was incensed at the idea of Rode putting their name on a boom? Anyone? Bueller? As for specs, nothing really outside of what Elgato themselves have released for the most part. This is a dynamic cardioid microphone. The frequency response is 50 Hz to 15 kHz. Sensitivity of neg 52 dBV per Pascal, which by the way, does mean that you need less gain to drive this than the SM58. And I guess if you need to know, it's an impedance of 600 ohms. I couldn't find the frequency response graph anywhere, but you can probably hear it, right? Right? This is the off-axis rejection of the Elgato Wave DX. This is me speaking about 2 inches off the front of the mic. Now I'm about 2 inches off the side of the mic. And now I'm speaking into the mic from the rear. Now for the plosive rejection test of the Elgato Wave DX. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Now for the proximity effect test of the Elgato Wave DX. This is me speaking about 2 inches off the front of the capsule. Now I'm directly on top of the capsule. 2 inches on top of the capsule. Now for the handling noise test of the Elgato Wave DX. You ever notice somebody that holds the microphone like this and they talk into it? Simon Whistler, Brain Blaze, does this. Somebody tell Simon Whistler to stop holding his microphone like this. Oh my God. So to kick this all off, we have the Behringer XM8500 versus the Elgato Wave DX. And this is the difference between the two microphones. They're both sitting at approximately 3 o'clock on the gain dial. This is what it sounds like when I go back between the Elgato DX and the Behringer XM8500. Now, the reason I started with this microphone is because this is the basement of recommendations. This is a super cheap microphone. I think it's about 25 bucks US, but this is how it sounds when you compare it to the $99 Wave DX. Which one do you like? Now we have the Elgato Wave DX up against the base, the standard, the $99 does everything standard of the SM58. Both of these microphones are sitting at 3 o'clock on the gain dial, and this is what it sounds like. I'm obviously boosting it a little bit in post. This is what it sounds like between the Wave DX and the SM58. Now, of course, the SM58 is that microphone that I say, if you can't beat the SM58, why are you even making a microphone? What do you think? Which one do you like better? Now we have the Elgato Wave DX up against probably my favorite handheld dynamic microphone. This is the Sennheiser E835. So this is the Wave DX and this is the Sennheiser E835. Now this microphone isn't for everyone. It's my favorite. I like it. I like to use it live. And this is the Wave DX. Which one do you like? Now we're getting into slightly unfair territory. We have the Elgato Wave DX up against the SE Dynacaster. Now for the sake of this, I've turned the internal preamp off on this microphone, so it is working as just a dynamic microphone. This is the Wave DX though, up against SE Dynacaster. Now it has its flat frequencies on as well as the preamp off. What do you think as you go in between these two microphones? This one's 99 bucks. I think this one's $249. What do you think as I go back and forth between them? And now we have two of the most anticipated microphones of fall 2022. You have the Logitech Blue Sona up against the Elgato Wave. I should point out, my gain dial on my Focusrite 2i2 is set at 3 o'clock for this puppy, the Wave DX. And this gain is set at approximately 11 o'clock, 11:30. So that's the difference. The preamp inside the Bluesona is allowing it to have a quieter run. It doesn't need as much gain from the preamps in my Focusrite 2i2. This one requires more. However, you can still get the Wave DX up to a usable point with most interfaces nowadays. And this is what it sounds like as I go between the two of them. Which one do you like? Now we have the Big Daddy, the SM7B. This is the microphone that all of these microphones would love to replicate the success of. And this is the Elgato Wave DX. And this is the difference between the two of them. Well, what do you think as I go between the Big Kahuna, the SM7B, and the Elgato Wave DX? Now, I know this is going to be a very controversial opinion, and I'm almost afraid to make it. In fact, I struggled a lot if I actually wanted to say any of this at all, but, well, here we go. As I was sitting here testing these mics, I got to thinking of all those super positive reviews I've seen on this thing, and because of that, I went back and I watched a bunch of videos from all sides of YouTube on this microphone. All of the reviewers I watched had received this mic from Elgato, and well, they were all singing the praises. And I also find it super interesting that all but a couple of those channels had obvious EQ on the microphone. Every single video and the mic sounded different in each video. And I have to point out, a couple of those channels I actually watch myself. It disappoints me to say this, but if you're EQing a mic to sound better during a review, especially when there's comparisons in the video, you're doing a disservice to the buyer. It's disingenuous at best. And while not all mics sound good on all voices, I get that. The viewer should be making decisions based on multiple sources and multiple voices. But if the mic in question is EQ'd, the viewer can't do that. Not to mention, some viewers can't do an EQ on their audio. And at this point, it's either the worst case of QA from Elgato and all the mics sound different, or, well, you know. Okay then, all that aside, what are the issues I have with this microphone? First off, can't find the frequency response graph anywhere. Perhaps we just need to wait for someone to start testing it. I'm looking at you, Julian. But the roll-off on this thing is at least at 150 hertz and is at least 6 dB per octave, but I would put my money on 12 dB per octave, which means all my chestiness is gone. And while it's good to roll off some of that rumble, I hate this baked-in roll-off probably the most. I mean, this thing made the SM58 sound like a dark mic when comparing them. Now we have the Elgato Wave DX up against the base, the standard, the $99 does everything standard of the SM58. The high mids, or as some like to call it, the nasal zone, is boosted so much that if you're already nasally, this thing is just going to make you sound like you own stock and breathe right strips. The only impressive thing about this microphone that I can say is, well, it's not super sibilant. This thing has no usable frequencies for me. On my voice, it failed to usurp a single microphone in the comparisons, and I specifically put the XM8500 in there to give it a fighting chance. I rarely ever say this about any microphone on my voice, but I absolutely hate the sound of it. No! I can't say this is a microphone to buy. I'm sad I didn't have my Podmic on hand for the demo. I can't seem to find it anywhere for some reason. I think I may have lent it out. But I would even recommend that mic over this one. If you need a bit of style on your mic, yeah, Podmic's the way to go instead of this. Otherwise, I'm going to recommend the SM58 all day and all night over this mic. Not just on sound quality either. Think about this. An SM58 will be the mic that you will never throw out. You can keep it on your shelf and even sell it off at a later date for almost the same amount that you bought it for. Can't say the same for this thing. Even the Behringer. Yeah, you will sound better on that. Someone clip that, by the way. You're not going to hear it often. I'm not even going to list this mic down in the comments. But if you got $100 and you're looking for something of a mic, I'll post a few options down below for you to consider. And if you don't believe me about my position on Behringer mics, here's a video where I angered a whole fan base. I still get hate mail for this.